Alright, so today is September 23rd, also known as 9/23. And since it is 9/23, I figured I would showcase a firearm chambered in 9x23. This is the Steyr Hahn Model 1912. Now, this gun was produced somewhere between 1912 and 1913. It was part of the Chilean contract, which about 5,000 of these guns were built. Now, a total of about 300,000 1912s were produced, but the Chilean contract was a run of 5,000. So what I'm going to do is, obviously you saw the footage of me shooting the gun and loading it, so I figured I would just go over some of the features and give my personal thoughts on this very cool gun. Now, obviously the most outstanding feature of this gun is how it loads. Obviously, most semi-automatic pistols, magazine release somewhere around here or something like that. Drop mag, new mag, run slide. Not with this. Obviously, 100 years ago, we were still trying to figure out how to make a good semi-automatic pistol. And what happened was, we weren't that good at making magazines yet. We were still trying to figure it out. And I say we as people, this is an Austrian gun. Obviously, I am American, so it was not us. This gun was actually on the Central Powers. But how you load this is you would pull slide back, automatically locks. Now, it's optional. You can engage the safety / slide lock, which that's something interesting about the gun, is this is more of a slide release / ejector, whereas this is more of your safety / slide lock. So what happened was, with this all the way up and locked, you would take your stripper clip, push it in, it fits into a slot, at which point you could slide the rounds down into the gun and then drop the safety, and it would go forward. Now, if you did not have your safety engaged and it was down like that, then what would happen is, the second you push the rounds into the gun and pulled out the stripper clip, which at that point the stripper clip would be on tension, so you'd have to kind of pull it up out of the gun with force, the slide would instantly go forward. Which is kind of a nice feature, because if I was in combat and I, for some reason, was fighting with my pistol and I needed a fast reload, that would be, once trained on doing that, would actually not be that bad of an idea. Obviously, with these are cheap to produce, so it's not that bad if I drop one or I lose one, whereas a bunch of magazines were expensive to produce, and obviously dropping them would be a really bad idea. But with practice, it was quite easy to reload and get back into fire. So some of the features of the gun besides that is the interesting grips. Now, you look at the grips and they look normal until you actually look and see that there's only one screw holding them in. And that is because, I don't know how well this will show up, but they are dovetailed into the frame. So what happens is, these would slide up into the frame, and there's this one screw that goes in on both sides and holds the grips in place. So a really neat design, obviously never caught on, much like the rest of the gun. Never really caught on, but still a cool concept, and they're very neat. So that's another cool feature of the gun. Now, the sights on this are actually fairly good compared to most World War I guns. I don't know how well that's going to show, but obviously it's a fairly simple notch rear sight with a little point up there. Not anything great, but you got to remember, this is World War I. That's how sights were. Trijicon didn't exist. XS Big Dots didn't exist either. And before anybody asks, no, you're not going to be able to swap out sights on this, so you're kind of stuck with what you got. Now, the gun fires a 9x23 Steyr round, which looks like this. Now, it's a longer cartridge than 9mm Luger, which is right here. So, it's pretty easy to tell the difference once you look at them, because this kind of reminds you of almost like a 38 Special that doesn't have a rim on it. And then, whereas obviously 9mm, we all know what 9mm looks like. Or 9mm Luger, obviously. I'm going to have to say 9mm a lot in this video. But at the moment, there's only one company I know of producing the Steyr cartridge, and that is Precision Cartridge Inc. Now, it's not terribly expensive. I have been able to find it for about 25 bucks a box. The problem is the only way I found it was online, and only one place I found had it at those prices, while other places had it more, and some even had it almost double. So it's not the easiest ammo to find in the world, but it's still there. It still exists, and it's still being produced to this day. In fact, I looked at my one box, because I bought 2 boxes, and it was produced in August of 2018. So definitely still being produced. Now, you can get stripper clips for it. You can load the gun without them, but for the full authentic experience, I would definitely recommend stripper clips if you have one. And you can get these for about $3 a pop. And they produce about 1 billion of them, so they're not hard to obtain. But if you're going to get some, I definitely would recommend getting a bunch of them. I got 8 of them because, and most websites will say this in their listing, is they can have a little bit of pitting, a little bit of rust. And some of them, what happens is the little lips that hold the casing in place can bow out a little bit, and they don't hold it as well. There are some bloopers of me having the rounds go everywhere that I might put in at the end if I can, but that can be, you can easily fix them by just squeezing them together, maybe a little pair of pliers, and straightening them back out. No big deal. Overall, the gun is a lot of fun to shoot. It really is a cool experience to shoot something that, even though at first glance it looks like any other semi-automatic pistol, until you actually dig into the mechanics of it and realize that there's a lot of things that make this different and make it a rather interesting, almost time capsule, I guess you could say, because at that point the semi-automatic pistol design was still pretty new, and we were still trying to nail down exactly the best means of producing it and having it work efficiently and effectively. So definitely a cool gun. If you get the chance to fire one, I would highly recommend it, because they are definitely fun to shoot. And if you have any questions about this, feel free to ask them. And I would definitely, if you're looking for a whole lot of information, check out CNR Arsenal, Forgotten Weapons, and In Range, who have done extensive looks at this gun, including I believe they dunked one in mud, which yeah. This one won't be getting dunked in mud anytime soon, but definitely a cool gun. So yeah, have a good day.